Guys, the motivational drive on a rainy day. I've been thinking about what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I want to start off talking about the subconscious mind. So I'm going to end up telling you a story, and I think it's a really good story, but for right now I'm going to tell you about the subconscious mind. So we have two parts of our mind. We have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind deals with everything it can kind of see or touch, taste, feel, everything you deal with your senses. And an immediate factor is your conscious mind, okay? Your subconscious mind takes in everything. It doesn't delete anything, and it relies heavily on the inside voice that you have in your head. So when you talk to yourself and you tell yourself things, you are confirming to your subconscious mind your belief system. If every time you look in the mirror you say, I'm fat, or I'm ugly, or I'm not talented, or anything like that, your subconscious mind only deals in facts, yes or no, truths. If you tell yourself something is true, your subconscious mind runs with that. Now, we can get into my personal philosophy a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about it, but everybody has their own personal philosophy in this world or their belief systems, so I don't want to step on your toes or your beliefs, but I truly believe that your subconscious mind has a way of making things into a reality. If you tell yourself you're not good enough for anybody, or you're not good enough for your job, or those are the things you say all the time, you will find a way to not be good enough. Your character, your actions, everything that you do will be based on the premise that you're not good enough. When you fail or you meet frustration, you'll quit because you already know that you're not good enough. Okay, so your subconscious mind has a way of making the things that you tell it to be true. So what I'm telling you today is to guard your internal dialogue. Make sure that when you speak to yourself, you're speaking to yourself in a voice that promotes the person that you want to be. I'm successful enough to handle all my challenges, or strong enough to handle all my challenges. I know one day I'll be successful. I know I'm good at my job. There's a million things that you can tell yourself all day long about how good you are, how easily you can cut it, right, in this world. But we tend to tell ourselves the opposite, all of our shortcomings and all the ways that we fail or don't quite meet up to our expectations. So I'm going to tell a story which may help you to change how you speak to yourself, or at least give you an aha moment. So that's what I'm hoping for. So here's my story. It starts off with two Zen monks. Now, if you've ever heard the old Zen parable that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single footstep, monks used to take very long journeys. They would travel from province to province and go from temple to temple. They would learn under different monks and different masters. And so some of these journeys were really, really long journeys. Well, the master and the student are out on their journey. They're out for days upon days. And pretty soon, they come across a woman who's waiting to cross a brook, a little body of water. So it's not very deep. She could do it. She just doesn't want to get her dress wet. She doesn't want to get her feet wet. And she's trying to think of the best way to cross. Now, monks are forbidden to have any interaction with women. They're not allowed to deal with women. It helps them to focus on the things that they religiously want to focus on or philosophically want to focus on. So they're forbidden to interact with women. However, the Zen master scoops her up without saying a word, picks her up, carries her across, and sets her down on the other side completely dry. And he keeps going right on his way. The student follows in tow, and they keep going. So 3 days later, the Zen student says, "Master, It's really been bothering me. I have to ask you. We are forbidden to have any contact with women. Yet 3 days ago at the brook, you picked that woman up and you carried her across the water and set her back down. And the master said, "That woman? I set her down 3 days ago. You mean to tell me you've carried her this whole way?" Now, I hope you just had an aha moment. The aha moment is that the Zen master never ever decided to identify her as a woman. He identified her as a human being in need, someone who could use some help. He didn't take the time to rigidly lock onto her as a woman. And it allowed him to stay pure through his actions. And so the reason I bring that up and how that relates to our conscious mind, how many things do you rigidly lock onto in your mind and identify them as one particular thing? What are the chances that it only exists as that one thing? So when you tell yourself things and you tell truths, right, the beliefs, your truths to your subconscious mind, are you even telling it things that are really true? From a different perspective, can those things that you're telling your subconscious mind be framed in a different way, viewed in a different way? You know, how many people out there, you identify somebody as one thing, right? But a woman can be a mother, a daughter, a sister, an employee. Literally a million definitions can fall onto her just depending on the perspective that you choose. Well, I'd like to open your mind a little bit because you fall into that same category. In someone else's mind, you're successful. In someone else's mind, you're beautiful or handsome. In somebody else's mind, it looks like you have it all together. In somebody else's mind, they wish they had life figured out just like you do. But you sit in front of a mirror and would tell yourself that you're not successful, you don't cut it, you're not worthy of the things that you have. There's a million ways we degrade ourselves and bring ourselves down. And what I challenge you to do is start to think about what that really could be construed as mentally. Are there other ways that you could say that same thing to yourself and be right? Absolutely, I guarantee it. If you took more time when you're looking in the mirror to think about the areas where you are successful, as opposed to the areas where you're not successful, I'll bet you come up with a whole lot more areas. And if you started to tell yourself every day the areas where you are successful, and you took a break from telling yourself the areas where you're not successful, how could that change your mind? How could that change your belief structure? How could that change who you believe that you are? It's a pretty important question because who you think you are is the way your subconscious mind views you. And like I said, I fully believe that your subconscious mind will make things into a reality. Let me give you an example. I personally like Honda cars and Acura cars. I drive a Honda. You can see the little Honda logo right here. Why don't I drive a Ford? Right? Why not? Well, because in my mind, I tell myself that I'm a person who likes Hondas. Right? So when I go looking for cars, do I end up on a Ford dealership? Absolutely not. I end up on a Honda dealership. I end up on an Acura dealership, right? Because those are the cars that I like. But those are really, if you want to get down to it, the cars that I tell myself that I like. Those are the kind of cars that I tell my subconscious mind that I see myself in. And so naturally, it gravitates me towards those types of vehicles. And that's one small example. We do that every single way with everything in our life, depending on what we tell ourselves we're good at. If you believe that you have strengths in certain areas, you will tend to take on challenges in those areas because you already believe that you have strengths to handle those. Okay? If you tell yourself that you're weak in certain areas, then all of a sudden you'll stray away from those areas. You don't want to do something that you're going to be weak or the results aren't going to be good. So you'll stay away from those, okay? So what I do, if there's an area that I know I struggle, instead of acknowledging to my subconscious mind that I know I'm bad at whatever it is that task is, I tell myself, I'm not good at that task yet. It's going to require more study, more experience, more working in that area before I'm good at it. Now what that does is that gives you the willingness to work at it. If you tell yourself you're not going to be good at it unless you work on it, now all of a sudden when you want to get good at it, you got to work on it. You've told yourself that you got to go to work. So be careful how you talk to yourself. Be careful what things you feed to your subconscious mind as a fact. If you find yourself saying, I'll never be good enough to do that, put a comma on the end of that and say, until I study a little bit harder, until I work on it a little bit harder, until I find someone else who can teach me a little bit about that, right? Because if you leave it that blanket statement that says, I'll never be good at that, you'll never be good at it. But if you tell yourself all you need is somebody else that can help you out to be good at that, all of a sudden you start looking for more networks. You start talking to some people who you think might be good at that. If you're talking to somebody who might be good at that, you'll say, hey, coincidentally, I have a problem in that same exact area. What would you recommend? And now you can get advice from somebody who's more likely to help you, and then you can achieve your goal. So be careful how you talk to yourself. Start telling yourself more positive thoughts about who you are and who you can become. And if you have to tell yourself something negative, put that comma at the end and realize that there's another statement you can tack onto the back of that that'll make it a much more positive statement and give you a lot more hope, a lot more ability to get that job done. So remember, that monk set the woman down immediately because he never even viewed her as a woman and it never even bothered him. But his student carried that burden for 3 days non-stop and just kept burning it into his mind. Be careful the thoughts you allow yourself to think. They govern everything about who you are. This is the Motivational Drive. I hope this inspired you to start thinking some better thoughts and to stop telling yourself you're not good enough. I'm here to tell you that you are good enough. Start telling yourself that you're good enough and you can make it all happen. I'm happy to talk to you guys. I hope I'm really helping somebody out there. Hit the notify button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button. Get this out there for a bunch of other people. You don't know who else out there is telling themselves every single day that they're not good enough. They'll never have enough money. Their bills will always be overwhelming. And they're painting themselves into a corner. If this is you, I just gave you the tool to get out of that corner. Share this so if somebody else needs it, they can start getting out of that corner too. Have a great day, guys. It's raining here, but I'm still going to have a fantastic day. I recommend you do the same. Take care.